So here is the bushing that drops inside. So if you look at it, see, it's got a tiny bit of a taper. It's almost like an eighth of a difference, but it's a huge difference because I measured out this side, and this is exact to the pipe. As you can see right here, I put it slightly smaller than the rubber, so I measured it to that, but in reality I should have measured it to the front of it, because you can, there's like a little ring all the way around that it's a little too thick. So all I did was I cut a 1/4 inch out of the pipe right here. So you can see it's just a little 1/4 inch out of the pipe. That's all I did, and that's just so I can get it snugly inside the cup. The bag is way too snug up in there, way too snug. This is about driving height, and you can tell the bag is already touching right there, so that is an issue. I cut out the plate. It turns out I'm not going to use a cup down here. Welding this plate to the arm. So unless this arm breaks, it shouldn't be an issue. So yeah, I'm just gonna weld it right here. Underneath is the little hole for the bolt right there. So that's gonna hold the bottom of the bag in place. It looks like there's a lot more clearance than I think. Well, once I get the cup situated on the top finally, like really dialed in the angle, it should have enough clearance here and enough clearance here. The shock absorber is gonna have to be repositioned. It's gonna be about 1.5 inches away from its original position. This is now a 2-inch cup instead of the 1.5 inch. I think it's 2 1/4, right? But this isn't actually welded in place. Test fitting. Now I have my whole hand behind here, so that means that I can push this over a little bit, still give myself more room. Gonna have to extend this, and I have to weld a piece of steel from here to here.
Sometimes this world is so lonely and cold.
And extend it. And actually, so I checked if anything was gonna hurt, it's gonna move it. So you can see we have clearance. Now let's check the other side, which is where the brake caliper is at. But it's still enough for me to like squeeze a finger in there. You know what I'm saying? The positioning of the bag on the bottom, that's where it's gonna sit. I still got the plaque. Plaque for that is right here. It's just gonna be welded to the control arm. And at the top, I ended up scooting over the back, the holes, the mounting holes. They're no longer off to the side like they should be. They are off in the middle. It overhangs a little bit. I really don't think it'll be a huge issue. Now it can actually be aired out, and it won't rub on the sidewall, I believe. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's gonna rub too much. Like I said, the bottom is kind of doing the fine tuning for the top. So in the bottom, I can just scoot the bag over a little bit more if I need to, for whatever reason, like this. There you go. Scoot the bag over. The bag over moved about 1 inch right there, 1/2 inch. There you go. Look at that. Boom, boom.
Sometimes this world is so lonely and cold.
I feel like I have acquired the fitment finally. Yes, this is fully aired out, and yes, it is touching a little bit right there. You know what I'm saying? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grind down that little edge a little bit more, And then I'm gonna scoot the bag in, because look, I got a little bit of room to mess with. This plaque down here, the orange thing, has a big enough hole. It's the size of the 22 socket. Size of a 22 socket. That is the size of the hole. I am gonna use a washer like this, and I'm gonna use the bolt that sits in the middle of the bag. All I'm gonna have to do is loosen up the bolt a little bit and wiggle it side to side right here, like that. So it gives me about ½ an inch of movement all the way around. Slightly touchy. And this is what I had to do for the shock absorber. I did have to extend it, but it cycles. It cycles perfectly fine. So here's gonna be what it would look like. About ride height would be right here. Ride height would be around right there. So what I mean, the parts that are gonna touch are mainly gonna be all the way aired out, and also completely aired up should fall like around right here. So as you can see, the shock absorber almost touches the bag, but by the time it almost touches, the actual shock absorber is fully extended and it doesn't allow it to go any further. And it still clears the knuckles down here. Nothing touches on the knuckles. Even full lock, the knuckles don't touch, fully aired out. So yeah, I think I nailed it. I'm just gonna take it over to my welding guy, and I'm gonna have him tack them in place. I'm gonna come back, retest the fitment, and if they are the same, then I will take it right back to him and then get the whole thing welded all the way around. And then I'm done on one side. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. For the rear, I decided to not go with the cup, simply because the way I was riding with my lowering springs, the distance from up here to the flat surface of this lower control arm was exactly 6 inches. So the bag only collapses to, I think, 2.3 inches. So I didn't want to put a cup back here because I wanted to keep as much travel as I can get through this bag. In the front, I have about 3 inches more in the front to work with, other than back here. Back here it's really tight. Suspension completely collapsed. There is exactly 4 inches left in this area. So from up here to down here, completely collapsed, maxed out, without the airbag in there. It is exactly 4 inches. And that's also with the sway bar as high as it goes, which is about right there. And the other side, I had to cut out a little bit of the pinch weld because it was actually going to rub on it. But completely collapsed, that's what I'm going to be looking at. 4 inches of the distance from this control arm to the upper cup. And for the upper cup, I am going to have to cut out that little bevel that's in there that is made to center out the spring. I'm gonna have to cut it out because it's not gonna give me enough room to connect the hose and bolt it up and everything. So I'm gonna have to cut out that cup. There is 2 inches, let me see, I think it's 2 1/4. That is the actual size of this inner cup right here, 2 1/4. And it's not gonna be the 5 inches that it is up front. This one is actually 4 inches. I tried putting one of these on there again, and these are way too big. So if you see, they are actually different sizes. This is the rubber for the rear spring. This is the part that sits up against the frame. Same for the front. You can clearly tell that there's big differences with the both of them. But you gotta the measurement from this top part is, there you go, 4 inches. If you go to this one, this is the front, you're looking at 3/8. So it looks like 4 3/8, 4.5 really, 4.5. and that's the difference between the front and the back. So these cups for the front wouldn't work. Yeah, the clearance of this drive shaft and this bag is going to be very tight. I made the hole on the plaque big enough for me to slide the bag front and back and side to side. So this is what the plaque looks like. The hole in the plaque is big enough for me to move the bottom of the bag just a little bit, just so I can tweak it and get the fine tuning in the end. This is the exact same plaque that's already in there. The holes are not going to be, this thing is not going to be bolted. Just put the holes in there so I can get it positioned, test it. If I need to, I'll put more holes in it. But I actually ended up nailing it down the first try on both sides. I wouldn't say it was easy, but I did do a lot of lining up. On both sides, and this is just how it came out, and I'm just glad it worked out. So all I did was did this side first, and then I went to the other side, and I pretty much just flipped it and then put it on the other side. That's all it is. This is the little notch that I had to do on this side for the sway bar. When the suspension is fully collapsed, the sway bar will hit this part of the pinch weld, and this is only on the left side, the driver's side. It'll hit this section of the pinch weld. So all I did was I got a Sawzall and I put 2 cutouts right here, and then I hit it with a hammer, pushed it in as much as I wanted, pretty much, and then I finished it off with a sanding disc on a grinder. I will put the undercoat on it just so it doesn't start rusting.
Sometimes this world is so lonely and cold. Like
The rears are gonna be easy once I already install them. It took me a lot of measuring and trial and error for these to get them down just right the first time. Once I finished getting the right position, all I did was weld them all up, weld the plates up, and got them painted, and then I put them back in here, and everything is good. Clears the drive shaft, clears the brake line, the subframe mounting points are out of the way. The front of the car, I am still having issues with it. I had to cut this up in half and place it on top of the cup to get a little bit more height, because I keep rubbing on this area right here. So that's the one thing I had to do, and I'm just gonna do the same thing on the other side, and hopefully it works. I believe I got all my shit together finally. Bags are in, front and back, both of them are in. So my thing for the front worked out with the bushings, and I'm gonna put the car on the ground very soon. I got air in the tank, and I want you guys to hear this. These are the switches, right? A little bit of air, full air. 3/8 lines all the way through for the rear as well. Yes, sir. Finally, it's under its own weight. Yes, sir. Oh my god. underneath it now. Let's check the pressure. Yup. Yup.